My name is Michael. I'm the Chief Operating Officer in NORA. And before we go into today's program, I want to do just a raise of hands. So, who knows here what NORA AI is? What is NORA? Do you guys know what NORA is doing? Do you know who are part of NORA? Do you guys know? What do we do? What do NORA collectively do? Do you know what we're doing? Seminars? Yeah? Obviously, yeah? So some people know, some people don't, or most people don't maybe. So maybe we should try to communicate that a bit clearer every now and then. So what most people think that NORA is the secretariat. It's also pair. But NORA, it is the partner organization. Can you just change here? So hard do I need to push? Paul, can you change the slide? There, yeah. So NORA is not us. NORA is the partner organizations that you can see up here. And we are the national academic AI network in Norway, and we work to strengthen research, education, and innovation within AI. So we work on behalf of our partners to create value for them. That is what we do. Now, what does that mean? It means that we try to do the things the university typically don't do. And we also try to coordinate things that is of national importance. So we have a lot of events, we have a lot of resources, we have a lot of projects that we are involved in. So some of the projects that we are involved in that might be particularly important today is the NORA project. That's a Norwegian digital innovation hub, where we try to help small and medium enterprises to use AI, to teach them about AI and to give them a network of AI researchers. And we also have a NORA Research School, which this event is part of, the NORA Research School. I see some of the students here today that are part of the Research School. And we have a lot of different events. We have summer school, winter schools, autumn schools, and so on. And then we have other resources like the Nordic AI Directory. That's a website where we have a list of all the, not all, but most of the AI projects in Norway, the AI researchers in Norway, women in AI in Norway. So we do a lot of these coordination things. And that brings me to the event of today, which is Innovate Together, Academia Meets Industry. And that's a part of the Research School. And I will now give the word over to Justine so she can talk a bit about what the Research School do and also the program for the rest of the day. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Change the slide. Oh, perfect. Yes, so my name is Justine and I'm leading the Research School of NORA, and we have a lot of exciting events. Our main aim actually for the Research School is to serve our PhD students and make sure that they get the skills and the knowledge to complete their PhD successfully. So what are we doing? So we have the winter school and the summer school. The winter school will be taking place in Tromsø in January. And actually, the Research School is not only interesting for the PhD students, but also for companies, because we can help you to bring together researchers and companies. And we also have, on some of our events, we have some, parts that are interesting for industry. Like in the winter school, we also have a section for companies. And of course, we have today. So then we have the summer school that will take place in June in Fredrikstad. We have the Nordic AI Meet, which is a Scandinavian event for young researchers in the field of AI. Last time it was taking place in Helsinki, and the next one will be in Sweden. Then we also organize diversity in AI events. One would be the Women in AI event, which we are planning to hold in the spring next year. And we also have the opportunity for our students to get into exchanges with very good AI organizations that are good actually worldwide, which is the Alan Turing Institute and HIDA. So if some of you is interested in that, then please contact me. And last but not least, of course, we also have our Industry and Innovation Day, which is today. And this day we organize it because we believe that in bringing researchers and industry together, both parties can have so much value from that. So the researchers, they can learn how to bring a product to the market, to really learn on what's important for society. And then the industry partners, they can have the knowledge that's fresh from the universities, so they can adjust their project or processes so that it is improved and better for in the end for the end user. And next to that, we also have some soft skill activities, like a science communication workshop or a communication workshop, which we had this morning. Okay. Yes, so, and this brings me to my last slide about the program. So as said, we started with a science communication workshop this morning. And then now sessions will follow on entrepreneurship, innovation, and we have a talk from Ingvar from the new DNB New Tech Lab. Then we will have a break with gingerbread, cookies, and Glock to get all ourselves in the Christmas mood. And then we will have some talks first about financial opportunities for bringing industry and researchers together. And then we will have a talk about a startup, an AI startup, that is also part of our NORA.Startup organization. And at the end, we will have a talk about from Brønnøysund register about innovation there and how PhD students could help them to improve some of the challenges they're having. And yeah, then we will have food, drinks, and networking, also some Christmas food. So yeah, that's the program. And then I'm very happy now to introduce our first speaker, which is Snežina, one of my colleagues. Happy to have her as a colleague in NORA. And Snežina has a lot of experience in entrepreneurship and innovation. So she worked for an incubator in the UK before and also for 2 AI startups. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thanks. Very official. I love that. Okay. Yes. Do I need this one? Yeah. Okay. Can I use this microphone, Paul? Yeah. All good. Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, I'll try to be quick so there's enough time for all of the other speakers. And I'd just like to give all of you some food for thought about what could be some potential paths whenever you're done with, let's say, with your PhDs. Probably some of you will think about staying in academia. Others might be considering other avenues. And I would like to just share with you what current opportunities we have from within our community of startups. Well, Mikael already mentioned some of these projects, so I guess I could focus more on NORA.Startup. This is our innovation network. It's a national network, and it's for researchers and the startup community. What we've been doing up to now has been to be the #1 point of contact for any national player, but also international player who wants to access any information or contacts when it comes to AI and AI research. They usually come to us because we're very well embedded with academia across Norway, but also with the public and private sectors, so we can pinpoint them in the right direction. And for now, of course, the plan is to maintain that status of being a sort of a pot of information that's relevant to researchers, to founders, and also to the public and private sectors. For example, NORA.Startup is very well embedded in the entire ecosystem. We're working very close with all of the universities and research institutes across Norway. We are very well embedded with the incubators and accelerators, like, for example, Startup Lab, Gründergarasjen. We're also in contact with all of the local incubators and other universities across Norway. We work also closely with the TTOs in every university. We have a number of industry partners, which I'll share with you a bit later. We also have partners within the public sector. And in a way, one of our agendas, specifically for NORA.Startup, is to encourage researchers to think about commercializing their research, to think about different collaborations, how they can essentially share their niche expertise with the public and with the private sectors. And the way we sort of bring all of these characters in the ecosystem together is, again, acting as a point of contact. We want to be able to provide people with warm introductions. Apart from running events and doing different initiatives, we want to be that shared agency that a researcher or founder could have with a potential partner. We're also working very closely together with Justine and with the research school. We're working towards creating opportunities for collaboration, and that could be across innovation, it could be across research. We're also working with international partners through the exchange programs that we have, and also through bringing startups from abroad to Norway and vice versa. And lastly, we're working closely with Innovation Norway, with the Research Council, and with any other public institutions that have funding for research projects and for innovation projects. We host a number of webinars and different events for them to share how you could potentially benefit from these programs. A little bit about the community that we have. We do operate as a network, so a lot of the support we provide is mainly around putting you in touch with all of the relevant people, ensuring that you have access to resources that are offered by our partner institutions. We currently have 57 startups. They're all research-based startups, so some of them have been started by faculty, others are started by PhD students, and also we have startups coming to us because they want to access researchers. So they come to us with the challenges that they think would be best handled by researchers, and then we roll out this information across universities in the country to find the best suited people for that. We also have, let's say 80, let's round the number. We have 80 academics who've signed up to the network specifically because they want to be on top of news when it comes to innovation and when it comes to bringing research and innovation together. Of course, if you're members of the research school, any information that we share within the NORA.Startup network will be made available to you as well. So you're more than welcome to sign up, but even if you don't, I will find you and I will spam your inbox in one way or another. So this is the community that we currently have. And I mentioned that we have some strategic partners. They come from the public and from the private space. Actually, yeah, as Justine mentioned, later today, the Brønnøysund Registrene will share some of the opportunities they have for researchers. I will actually share some opportunities from Tine. There's an interesting sort of development in their company where they believe that research expertise is needed to handle some of the challenges they're dealing with. So I'm pretty sure that this actually doesn't cover all the opportunities that are out there for researchers and for people who want to get involved with innovation. But I wanted to just share that open innovation is not a term that is new. Like, it's been used quite a while, especially in the early 2000s. A lot of bigger corporations were playing around with it. It's about distributing innovation and bringing actors from the outside world into companies, and also disseminating any valuable information that companies have with the outside world. Very famous example is when Tesla made all of their patents open. But we believe that AI actually is bringing this new age where open innovation is really needed, because sometimes implementing AI solutions is a very laborious process and it can be outsourced. We also are seeing the need for sharing data, so collaboration is needed, and we want to be that point of contact that could add extra value to researchers accessing data that might not be as easy to access, and vice versa, let's say businesses and the public sector accessing that expertise that researchers have. So, of course, some of you might decide to stay in academia, some might decide to have one foot in academia and the other one in the private or public sector. We're seeing many researchers venturing into starting their own companies. There's also a little bit of some of the blockers around that is some of them think that they have to become the CEOs of a company, and that pulls them further away from doing research because they'll have to deal with managing their team and they'll have to deal with fundraising. But we're seeing sort of a trend where many researchers get involved in the founding teams as like chief scientific officers. So what they do is they maintain that research expertise and sort of create value on the research side of things, while they found somebody with, let's say, more of a bit more business orientated to deal with the fundraising and finding the right early team. When it comes to public and private sector, I'll share some of the opportunities, so I won't dive further into that. But so what are some current opportunities that we have in the community? We have a startup. They're actually based here in Oslo Science Park. What they're doing is they're using AI to provide data visualization and analytics, specifically for complex documents. And they actually want to open up and start partnering up with researchers, maybe in a part-time or full-time role. And they're also looking for developers and data scientists. In the first quarter so in the new year, they will be recruiting for these roles. So if anyone is interested, we can be your path towards potential collaboration or exploring what it might be like to be part of a very early startup team. Another opportunity is with Tine. Surprisingly, they've recently started a completely new department, still small department, but they want to do more research projects, and they're looking as well to outsource some of this and invite researchers into their company for a particular period of time to work on a specific project. We're actually launching this project with these two domain areas around supply chain and marketing analytics, but there's some other domains around microbiology and forecasting that they're looking. If we do well and we match them with the right people, there's more opportunity to work together with them. And partnering up with them would actually give you access to a lot of real-world data sets. You'll be able to work closely with their team and get really that understanding of what it might be to work in a bigger company and test it out, really, whether it's for you or if it's not, and how much there is opportunity to further grow and expand on your research. And there are also opportunities to do also publication on the work you've done with them. But of course, there's some caveats around this. Justine is giving me the sign that I should wrap up, but we are close to the end. And they're looking for researchers, data scientists. This is the backgrounds that they want people to have. And again, just get in touch with anyone from our team, and we can sort of put you on the right path to potentially partnering up with them. And startup, Morgan is here from AIZEN, so later on she's going to share what challenges they're trying to tackle with the help of researchers. And Brønnøysund will also share what help they need. And to leave it on that, please don't hesitate to connect with us. Perhaps what you need could be best handled through the research school or through NORA.Startup or through any of the other projects that we're leading. Connect with your local innovation offices. Even if you're not considering to have your own business, it's good to know what opportunities there are out there and what can be done with your research. Explore whatever options there are, and through opportunities like that where you don't have to do like serious commitment, it's a good way to explore what's for you and what isn't for you. And I think with the domain that everyone is working on, you will definitely have an impact, whether you decide to stay in academia or you decide to go into innovation. Of course, through the different paths, some of that impact can be scaled and it could be bigger, or it could affect only specific domains, and it all comes down to you and what you want to do. Yeah, that's it. Thanks. I hope we get to connect more. Cool.
Thank you so much, Snejina. Are there any questions? Okay, so if there... Yeah, that's a great idea. So then I will introduce our next speakers. There will be Nurun and Ivan. They're both working for the Growth House, and they have a great deal of experience with advising students if one of their research results might be interesting to bring forward to a startup or innovation. And additionally, Nurun also has experience as a researcher, so she knows firsthand how it is to do a PhD. And also interesting to mention that the Growth House, so they're there to advise the students, and that is based in Oslo, but there are also innovation offices at other universities. So if you're interested in that, you can also check out what there is at your university.
Yeah, so this is on. Thank you. So we are the UiO Growth House, and we are here to tell you how to bring your research into the world. And the thing is that what we do every day is that we are an internal innovation unit at the University of Oslo, and we were established 3 years ago because we see that there's a need to help researchers really early to take their ideas further. So we will show you some of the things we do. So we have made a model. It looks quite busy, but we will guide you through it. This is the Growth House model, and this is a series of low-threshold innovation services that we have developed over the 3 years to help people like you develop your innovative idea. And the main core of our model is the top, is the tailored guidance. So if you come in our door, our innovation advisors will give you one-to-one guidance. When we started, even I talked about, should we make an online service where you just click what to do next? But we see that it's very important that you get some guidance because it's very different what people need help with. And as a part of this guidance, we also have seed funding. So if an advisor thinks that you need some money to get your idea further, we can provide up to 200,000 NOK for that. And you see here other funding as well, internally and externally. We help researchers to apply for funding internally. And when it comes to externally, it's the Research Council or EU. It's in particular the impact part. We don't write applications for you, but with the knowledge that we have, we can help you write better application on the impact part. So this is the main thing what we do, that support researchers. And to give you some more insight in what does that actually mean, Ivar will tell you about how he handles requests that we get.
Okay, thank you, Noren. I will just show example of two questions we usually get. This is a question connected to IDs with AI. Usually the researcher are based on in the university hospital around Oslo. Some is within the university. Often they're health related, sometimes not, but mostly health related. And what we try to do is to try to build a network within and also without the university, the Growth House. The most important thing we focus on is that one, middle green, finding the next step on your pathway towards your whatever you're seeking. And this is pre-commercial development, but usually it's a tricky one. You have some ideas what you want to do. We try to connect you to what you need. Could be more information. It could also be funding opportunity. And we collaborate, as down here in the blue, with consulting services. Could be CRO, if you want that towards a medical device or medicine. And of course, as Noren mentioned, the financing. We also collaborate with others around us to make a template and guidance for you to apply for at least the innovation grants from the Research Council. And we also have one attending in the audience who is helping us with that. And that's very important, Sergio. Yeah. Because it's difficult to write this application, as also it's adapted. It's not only that the criteria is often not aligned with the selection marks. Next one, the last one here, is that this was a question we have a request we had for years. We have tried to cope with them as easy as possible. The question, or the success rate for that, could you guess what that is? Doctor from the university wants to have a programmer from informatics. Anyone? No, 0. Absolutely 0. It's not the way that's done, really. We need to be, and I think it's due to the way you present your ID, the insight you have in how you develop software, mostly. So what we have done is that we made this year a workshop just to make sure that you become a more of a professional buyer of these services. And that's, I will show the last one I have, what the takeaway are. And we also do that when you have entered this workshop, we make sure that you know what to do afterwards, because there's a lot of information, and usually the pivoting of your ID is maybe a little bit chaotic, and you need to make sure that you are on the right track. And of course, we collaborate with others around us, TTOs, incubators, and so on. But this is mostly pre-commercial work. Yes, and the last one is a takeaway. And that's the first one is really the one we see that the interaction with customer or the user is really lacking. And that's our task. We want to make that better. And of course, to know how you communicate with your audience, user, customer, is really also something that's lacking. To know what you're sending out and what people are looking at, because there's a lot of nice websites around, but nobody uses that. It could be a reason. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
There's more.
There's more, yeah. So, what we talked about now is how we support the researchers that reach out to us. But as you might know, most researchers won't come to us because they don't know about the opportunity. Many researchers, maybe not you, but many, think more about just publishing, and they are not into the innovation world. So what we do as well is we work on strengthening the innovation culture at the university. And to the bottom there, you see in the light yellow, it's initiatives for students. And since you are not students, I won't go into that. But of course, at the university, it's important to work with people as early as possible. But for others like you, PhDs and postdocs, we have initiatives that help you increase your competence. And here it's what's called a LEAP bootcamp. And that's something that will be available all over Norway next year. It's a place that you can learn, it's a course for several days that helps you develop your idea. It gives the competence to develop your idea. And next year there will be a pilot from a LEAP, the incubator here in the park, where it will be free for you, and you will have to apply. And we also run what is called the School of Health Innovation. This is within health. It's a Nordic school. It's sponsored by Novo Nordisk, so it's also free for the participants. So it's also even though it's we who run it, it's available all over Norway. And then we develop other courses and seminars as needed. We forgot to ask, how many of you are from the University of Oslo? Anyone? Yeah, a few. So the other courses that we have is, of course, internally at the university. And then we run something called Innovation Hangout that I will talk a bit more about. But just to mention before I go into that of course we collaborate with the entire ecosystem around us. We are here in the park, and there are several business clusters here. There are incubators, and we want, as Ivar also showed, we've involved these in how to guide you in going forward. So Innovation Hangout, it might look a bit about what you are here for today. It's a meeting place for academia and industry. And the reason for starting this is that, as was said, only a few of you will have a job in academia afterwards. So we want to inspire you and give you self-confidence that you can have other opportunities. You can start your own company, or you could join a business. So what we have at these meeting places is that we have inspirational talk by someone who has been long in industry, for example, and we have role model talks from a young researcher who has started his or her own company or has joined a bigger company, just to show that there are other career opportunities. And it's also a place where we want researchers, in particular young researchers from academia, to see that you can collaborate with others also to take your idea out there. So this is an example from an Innovation Hangout. It's really popular. And if you are in Oslo, you are welcome to attend. It's an in-person event, and that's important. We don't stream. It's a place where you meet and talk like you do here today. So our main message today is that if you have an innovative idea, or think you have an innovative idea, you can reach out to us if you are at university. And as was said here, if you're not at the University of Oslo, I think you should use the opportunities that you have through NORA to get help to put you in contact with the right persons at your institution. Because it's really important to get in contact early, because innovation advisors like Ivar that can really help you find the right path early on. So yeah, thank you.
Any questions?
We will be here. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
About innovation culture in universities in general.
Mm.
We interact with a lot of researchers, and very often they have this feeling that, you know, the industry is kind of the dark side. So how do you work to create this innovation culture at the universities? If you're at Stanford, for example, and you're part of a startup, you're basically a quote-unquote a loser. How do we get that feeling into the researchers in Norway so we can actually get innovation out of the research?
This is some of the background for this meeting place, to show that it's not the dark side. And to show that those that work in startups or larger companies, they have the same goal to help patients create better solutions for society. But it's something that you have to repeat, of course, and just talk about.
I'm also thinking about the incentive structure. Because researchers, they're measured based on publications. And what is the actual incentive unless they have just a good heart and they want to help people? But is it possible to create some incentive structures in universities in some way that they're measured on how much they contribute to innovation or something along those lines?
Yeah, there is something called KWM at the University of Oslo. It's kompetansevurderingsmatrice, it's called, where there is actually some incentives for it, but it's not that much used, I think, and I don't think many leaders knows about it. So it's part of our job as well to tell about this. But I think also when it comes to what we said about funding, researchers increasingly have to get more funding externally. So and I think that if they also see that going into the impact part, innovation part, that will increase your chances of getting some external funding, that's also an incentive. So that's why we work on that as well. Ivar, you want to add something?
Well, I've been working around University of Oslo since 2004 through the TTO segment. I'm still looking for that answer, really. I think it's a challenge. The management has their way of looking at it, and it's really to change it on the low level. I think if I base on the 20 years I worked here, you have to focus on the young one, the newcomers, the next professors, and so on. I think so. Culture is coming by the younger people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for this very nice and also very relevant presentation. And it's my pleasure to now announce the next speaker, which is Ingvar Ugland. Many of you might know him because he has quite a presence in the media. He's also a co-author of some books. He is currently working as an industry professor at the Norwegian School of Economics in Bergen. And he is also the leader of the DNB New Tech Lab. And I could say so much more, but I will give the floor now to you. And yes, tell us a little bit about it.
Thank you. I have this one. All right, so I'm from industry, or the dark side. This is my team, pretty colorful, right? So we think that we never know as much as we know today about how little we know about tomorrow, and that means there's a lot of opportunity, and that's our task at DNB New Tech Lab. Let me just put on the timer. So in all this uncertainty, what hits us in the face every day is this question, WTF, what's the future? And trying to experiment ourselves towards that. Also, what Justine didn't mention, I'm also doing an industry PhD at NTNU. I recently just won this is my brag slide, the Artificial Intelligence Professional of the Year by DARE Awards in Stockholm. Yeah, thank you. We're in Oslo, London, and San Francisco, Silicon Valley, and we're official curriculum at the Norwegian School of Economics in Bergen, because we do something that in academia is called innovation on the edge, randsoneinnovasjon in Norwegian, but we just call it moonshots, and that's best illustrated by this. Show of hands, who has seen this before? Oh, cool. So this is Il Tempo Gigante, an imaginary car designed 50 years ago by Norwegian cartoonist Kjell Aukrust. And 50 years ago, it was designed with this. It has 2 engines and a radar, a ridiculous design. 40 years later, Tesla Model S has 2 engines and a radar. Just took a very different form. So it shows the kind of mentality of this moonshot innovation. You also use it as a metaphor because it has 2 speedometers. You can see that here. The first one goes from 0 to 250 kilometers per hour. The other one goes from 250 kilometers and upwards. And so this has 2 speedometers. So has innovation. Moonshot innovation, that's the second speedometer. So speedometer number 1, that's using technology to improve what you already got. Automation, optimization, incremental improvements. The second one is figuring out what are the opportunities driven by these new technologies that weren't possible or weren't even possible, or at least not easy to imagine without going deep into these new technologies. And so this is where there's a lot of things we don't know in speedometer 2. There's also a lot of things we don't know that we don't know. So a lot of exploration and trial and error. So in DNB, we're a big organization. We have to do innovation across the full spectrum of both speedometers. So here's an example of speedometer 1. This is just using AI for doing what we've already been doing, just with more accuracy and save some time. This is just creating some social media posts, and it's going to be about the DNB as the custodian of our crypto. That's the top secret project my team is working on. And just ask you which account it's going to be and what's the target audience, and then it just generates it in this shape and form that normally performs well in social media. So this is just about automation and saving time, doing the same you're already doing, just quicker. And it knows like the tone of voice that you would typically use. A lot of emojis. Hey guys, did you know that DNB could be your custodian? Just think of us as your personal vault for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and everything else. Crypto can be scary, but with DNB on the team, you can sleep well at night. Sleep emoji. So this is just the way we normally communicate with this. And it's just automation. And it also says you should use an illustration. This is the tool they actually use. They just type it in and generates it in the shape and form, the color scheme that DNB typically uses. So this is speedometer 1 using just simple AI tools to, this is generative AI, of course, to do what we're already doing, just better and faster. These moonshot things, also Kjell Aukrust clearly thought about that. These are the things that might render all of that obsolete. Most of it won't, but some might. And that means that some people might lose their jobs. Well, any of you guys, show of hands, do you think you're going to lose your job because of AI and machines? I know this audience, well, there's one, okay. But normally if I ask, do you think you know someone who will lose their jobs? A lot of people will raise their hands. And just to check that you're awake, do you think taxi drivers will lose their jobs because of AI and machines? Everyone? Yes, of course. This is already coming up almost 2 years ago in San Francisco. This is a cruise, a Chevy Bolt coming up to pick us up. There's no people in there. And you can see that this is a very incremental approach to something radically different, because look, it has the driver's seat, but there's no driver. And when you're 2 meters tall and in a small Chevy Bolt, that is ridiculous. Imagine how much extra leg space I could have had. But why do they do that? Well, it's not because they're incremental in their thinking. It's because we as users are. It just feels more familiar and safe if there's a driver's seat there. Just the same reason why there's still pilots in the airplanes, is to keep let the passengers feel more safe. So, and then there's a couple of reflections when this is, like I said a few years ago. My first reaction was like, whoa, this is magic. I have to call my mother. And then 10 minutes after, this is so boring. So it shows you a couple of things. Our reaction to new technology, either we're overwhelmed or we react by fear and disgust. And the other thing is, we adapt very easily. So in 1985, Steve Jobs said when he launched the Macintosh that this is a wonderful device, but there will be something else. And in the future, I imagine a computer that where you can have a conversation when the next Aristotle comes up. So we reached that point last year. This is a thing we built, this New Tech Lab Dream Teams. You can have a conversation with anyone about anything. This basically takes voice to text, generates a conversation with you and whoever you want, and then it synthesizes the voice and some visuals. In this case, video. It could have been VR and so on. We picked a limited number of people. We didn't ask for permission, for consent, so we had to pseudonymize. So you can see who it is, except Inga. We had got permission from her. Here's an example. This is Einar. He wants to talk about the election in Norway. And then this is being text to
what do you
voice
think
to
about
text.
the election results in Norway?
So he picks a few people he would like to talk to. Let's see. Ingo Hollandio, wonder who that is. And also, because we're synthesizing the voice, if someone has a somewhat cringe accent from Brønnøysund, we can fix that because we're nice people. So this is what a conversation will look like with Einar.
As a Norwegian, I believe in the power of democracy. The election results reflect the will of the people. It's a testament to the strength of our democratic system that we can have peaceful transitions of power.
Oh, come on, Berlingo. Democracy, really. It's all a game, a show for the masses. The real power lies in the hands of the few, the elites. It's like that Zuckerberg guy, always trying to control everything.
And trust me, this was trained a year ago, so it didn't know what was going to happen. But yeah. And then this guy here, it reflects his personality, and also he always wants to get the last word. And I think he does that here too.
Berlingo, I admire your optimism, but remember, not all games are fair. And sometimes the referee is on the take. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a billionaire with a rocket company.
Yeah, so humble. So this is coming back a year ago, and we didn't know exactly what to do with it. That's why also if you did this today, the quality of the rendering would be much easier, much cheaper. But what to use it for? Well, we didn't know at the time. But what we did know is that DNB as a bank for 200 years, we made a living out of trust. That's our most important value proposition. I think that's the one thing that won't change unless we screw it up. And if you think about what brings trust, I think that's also something personal. And I think that now there are devices that are more personal than these things. Here's one example. It's very early. This is an AI pin from UiMain. It can see, it can speak, and it can listen. And it can project to your hand. That's what's happening here. It's just short demo how it works.
It's a standalone device and software platform built from the ground up for AI. Engagement comes through your voice, touch, gesture, the laser ink display. Play the song How Music Makes You Feel Better. Weather, the date, how much protein?
These almonds have 15 grams of protein.
How much is this online?
This is $28 online.
We'll tap.
So this is a demo. Clearly, it looks
Staying in the
fantastic,
moment
but it's a little
and
bit like the first
generating
iPhone.
a gorgeous
It's both
image.
fantastic and a moron, because the first iPhone couldn't do anything. And we don't know if this one is going to succeed. That's why we're building some of our own. These are some glasses from Brilliant Labs. They are Gen AI native. And here's an example where we built that kind of. Oh, it doesn't play. Oh yeah. So this is just to take control over how it works, so we can. This runs on that Raspberry Pi over there. Just looking around the room, and this is just in JSON. What is it looking at? So why we're building these? Because this is what we got funding from the Research Council on to research on, and it's to build more personal and more trustworthy devices to deliver advisory service to our customers, as accurate as or better as a human being with the same kind of trust. We don't know if it's going to work, but that's what we're looking at, because we think that trust is one of the things that is hardest for. We live in a high trust society. We think that's some of the things that is hardest for Silicon Valley to copy. So the Nordic model superpower. And I was going to take. Have you showed me the 3? Oh, 4 minutes. Okay. So sometimes, then I'm on the anecdotes. Sometimes because a large language model, they can speak natural language, and they can be pretty seductive and charming. And we're simple people that invokes emotions with us human beings. And sometimes when we get emotions, we think it's mutual. And that's why people have, I didn't bring that slide, but there was already last year, I think, from NRK, an article where it shows the increase in how many Norwegians get AI boyfriends and girlfriends. And it says AI romance, risk-free love. So I guess they sold it pretty well. And this is because they think that, oh, I like this, so the computer must like me. But of course, they have no emotions at all, and no one said it better than Kasparov when he lost against Deep Blue. At least my opponent didn't enjoy the victory. And to that anecdote, and this is totally off topic, but it's about Kasparov. For many years, I could truthfully say that last time I played chess was against Magnus Carlsen, and that is true. It was a cool thing to say, so I just stopped playing chess because I could keep saying it. What I never said was that he was 14 years old. He played 9 others in parallel, blindfolded, and I lost in embarrassing ways. But it was a cool story to say, as long as I left that out. And then I met Kasparov, so I said, hey, Gary, you know what? Last time I played chess was against Magnus. And he was like, what? I haven't played him in a long time. How did it go? Did you lose? I lost, yeah. So I didn't say anything else. And then so there's 2 people, both played Magnus and both lost. So clearly Magnus is the better one. But who's the second best? So we had to find our phones and play a piece of chess. And so now I can say truthfully that the last 2 times I played chess was against Magnus Carlsen and Gary Kasparov. I'm running out of time, so I can't go into details on how that went. But what I can do is I can say that when it comes to application of AI in industry, there's 2 speedometers. The first one is optimizing, automating, and improving what you have. And the other one is looking for the unknown, where the biggest opportunities are, those that might render everything in speedometer 1 obsolete. And you need to do both. They're both necessary. None are by themselves sufficient. If you think all of this was just mumbo jumbo, do not scan the QR code and do not follow me on LinkedIn. If you liked some of this, you can consider doing that, but that's what I had. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions?
It's more a comment or a clarification rather than a question, but you talked about designing tools and devices that can be trustworthy. I'm curious to hear about how you define that being trustworthy. Yeah. From like the perspective of the person who's designing that, or the people that are designing that, or from a user perspective, and how you define that.
Yeah. When I wrote the application to the Research Council, I like that's a big application. Then I thought, I know everything. I know all the questions now, so I can just get going. And now, after half a year, I've never known as little as I do right now, because that's one of the hardest problems. How to scientifically measure trust. And because I have to start there. And I haven't even an overview of what has been done of scientific work on that so far. So that's where we have to start. But it can't be that I, as the provider, say I'm trustworthy, so you better trust me, otherwise So there has to be from the receiver. Do I trust this? And we don't know. And I think it's also a kind of topic that, AI is changing so rapidly that it's very hard to get results, like research results on AI that aren't outdated by the time the paper comes out. But what isn't going to change is how we perceive or what it takes for us to trust something. So at least there's something that won't change in that research. So you're pointing at my short answer is I don't know. And it's a very good question. I'll find out.
I think from a cognitive perspective, there is probably a lot of research on this also in terms of like politics and ideologies and things like that. So maybe a good place to start.
If you have pointers to articles,
sure,
ping me.
Thank you. So we have some paperkaka and Glock here now. So I would say we move to the right. And if you have more questions, then please ask Ingrid in the break. Thank you very much for this nice presentation.
Thank you.
So yes, thank you everyone for sitting down again. So the next presentation that we're having will be about finances and how the Research Council might be able to support you in building a collaboration between industry and research. And the presentation will be by Ina from the Research Council. She is a senior advisor. Unfortunately, she cannot be here present, but she recorded her presentation yesterday. And if you have any questions about this presentation to her, you can tell me, and then I will get in contact or bring you in contact with her. Okay, so we will start the recording then.
Hello, everyone. I hope you can all see and hear me good. I'm sorry for not being able to join you in person today, but I'm here online to represent the Research Council of Norway and to share insights into some of the opportunities we offer through various calls for proposals. Some of these might be relevant to your work and interests. I'll share the screen now and hope it goes well with the presentation. Like this. At the Research Council, we strongly believe in the importance of open dialogue and collaboration with those working in the field of research and innovation. Together, we aim to create opportunities for research and partnerships with various institutions across Norway. My name is Inna Koneshnikova, and I'm responsible for two of our schemes, Public Sector PhD and the Industrial PhD. However, today I'll provide a bit broader overview, touching on some of other calls for proposals as well. But let's start with what the PhD programs are. These are schemes where organizations, both public and private, can apply for funding to enable one of their employees to take a doctoral degree. This approach allows organizations to build their expertise without needing to engage in larger research projects. The research questions must be relevant to the organization, helping foster closer collaboration between academia and public or private sectors. These programs also play a key role in recruiting more Norwegian-based PhD candidates. According to Statistics Norway, the proportion of foreign PhD candidates in Norway has risen significantly from 22% to 48% in just a few years. This means that nearly half of all PhD students in Norway come here specifically to get their degrees and then very, very often leave the country afterwards, taking all the valuable knowledge and skills with them. While the PhD program helps retain and develop talent within the country. Let's look at the history of these programs. The public sector PhD was established in 2014, inspired by the industrial PhD. Over the past decade, more than 100 doctoral projects have been completed, and 187 projects are currently in progress. So far, we've supported these projects with approximately 540 million crowns. The industrial PhD scheme has a bit longer history, launched in 2008. Since then, 392 doctoral degrees have been completed. As per today, we have 244 active projects, including 49 new ones approved just this year, 2024. So who can apply? For the public sector PhD, the applicant must be a public sector organization funded with 80% or more by public sources. This funding can come from direct allocations or through public procurements. For the industrial PhD, the applicant must be a company with a Norwegian organization number. It must be registered in the business register, BREG, and engaged in economic activities in Norway. While the company can receive public funding, it cannot exceed 60% of the total financing. Small companies with at least 2 full-time employees are also eligible to apply. When applying, there are certain formal requirements to keep in mind. First, the organization must be within the target group. The project should be relevant to the organization's needs and must be conducted in collaboration with a degree awarding institution, university. There must also be internal supervision, sufficient time, and adequate resources to support the candidate. The organization must confirm financial ability to carry out the project, also in case of possible delays. Regarding the project duration, there are 2 options. A 3-year project where the candidate works on the PhD full-time, or a 4-year project where the candidate spends 75% of their time on the PhD and 25% on other tasks within the company. PhD candidates are required to spend at least 1 year at the degree conferring institution to build their connections with the research environment. Candidates must also hold a master's degree and be employed by the organization at the time of application. Looking ahead, I'd like to share our plans for 2025. We are opening new calls for both the public sector and the industrial PhD on 22nd of January, with a submission deadline 12th of March. Applicants will receive formal responses by 4th of June, and projects can commit in the fall semester of 2025 or the spring semester of 2026. For the public sector PhD, we have allocated around 96 million crowns to fund 46 projects. Of this, 15 will be open topic projects, while the remaining 31 will focus on specific themes such as artificial intelligence, equality and non-discrimination, nature and climate, health, welfare, education, violence in close relationships, and transport. For the industrial PhD, we have allocated 110 million crowns to fund 50 projects. This includes 38 open topic projects and 12 focused on themes like AI, transport, maritime, and nature and climate. In a PhD project, the Research Council covers up to 2.2 million crowns, and the rest of the expenses must be covered by the organization. We also support international stays for PhD candidates if the degree conferring institution is in Norway. Candidates can apply for funding for a stay abroad connected to the needs of their main PhD project. These stays abroad can last between 3 and 12 months, and we cover expenses related to the stay, including travel, visa, and tuition fees. There is a separate call for proposals for this program, which might be of interest for you to read through. In addition to the PhD programs and the stays abroad, we also offer funding for larger innovation projects in the industrial sector, IPN. The purpose of this program is to support companies in collaboration with other partners to carry out research-based innovation. This can involve developing of new products, services, or production processes. Eligible applicants include companies collaborating with at least one other company or a research provider. Projects can receive funding ranging from 1 to 20 million crowns, and the total available funds for this program annually are approximately 1.14 billion crowns. Project durations can range from 12 to 48 months. For 2024, the application deadline is tomorrow, 20th of December, but we plan to announce a new call in early 2025 with rolling deadlines throughout the year. The themes for IPN in 2024 included industry and service sectors, energy and transport, and food and bioresources. These thematic areas are likely to remain central to future funding rounds as well. Finally, I've provided links and contact details to the Research Council. We encourage you to reach out with any questions about the calls, application processes, or any of our programs which are available. Thank you so much for your attention today. I hope this presentation has provided some insights and inspired you to explore the opportunities we offer. I wish you all a productive day ahead and good luck. And as the holiday season approaches, let me take this chance to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you. Thank you.
Yes, so as she already mentioned, you can contact the people, the email address that she showed, or send an email to her if you have any questions, or you can also give the questions to me and I will ask her then. So now it's my pleasure to announce our next speaker. Her name is Mushkin. She is an AI expert, she's an entrepreneur, and she has a track record of impactful tech ventures. Also, she has a background in research, and now she is the CEO of AIZEN, and she will tell you more about that.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I put myself on the spot in the morning. I tried to give a pitch for AIZEN, but now it's my chance to practice the workshop this morning and try again to give this the same pitch. So before starting with AIZEN and our hope for collaboration with researchers and academia, I would like to get to know you better. How many researcher PhD students we have here in the intersection of AI and sustainability? Perfect. There are some. Amazing. Please let us stay in touch. And then how many industry representatives that we have that in a way or another, they're dealing with this sustainability dilemma? Nobody? Well, that's amazing too. You. So this is the team behind AIZEN. AIZEN as I mentioned this morning, is aiming to bring ease of mind, Zen, with AI to small and medium-sized businesses when it comes to sustainability. I myself, my background is data and AI. I did my PhD many, many years ago, in 2007 to 2012. And the topic was modeling trust in a digital setup. So I really loved the talk by Yingwar about trust, and to see that actually that has some industrial application now as well. Together with me, I have Andreas here, sitting here, the CTO for AIZEN. And the third person, Halfdan, who's coming from a business background and working with bigger organizations. And he's bringing tons of knowledge of industrial understanding of the sustainability to the team. And Halfdan, as expected, he's out meeting with clients and doing actual business while we're here. And then we have an offshore team of developers, our extended team in India that they work with us day to day to build solutions. So I promised Justine and Snow to a little bit also talk about my journey and how I transferred myself from academia to industry and to startups before also actually getting into too much details about my talk. As mentioned, I did a PhD in NTNU on the topic of trust, and you had some discussions this morning, the dark side, and it is you're investing basically 5 years of your life minimum to solve a problem, and that's a huge investment. And sometimes it's difficult to see, what immediate value you will get out of this investment. And I was the same. So I left academia for industry to be more closer to creation and creating impact. And this is perhaps at my time what we were missing in academia: experimentation, real setup experimentation, and generating impact. And I hope that this is something that they work on and gets better and better at university and academia as well. I started as a data scientist, and very soon I realized that we're talking about 2012. We didn't have much data for me to build machine learning models. So my job became bigger than that. My job became shaping the team and creating the strategy and building platforms, and I really enjoyed this. So that was my entry to startup world, because I enjoyed playing this end-to-end role. I started with Dharmic Data, my first company, in 2015, which was building personalization as a platform for media companies. And then in 2017, iPowerMe, another startup, which was building a data marketplace for personal data economy. So you and me, we own our data, and we get paid for our data. Although the first one was success, the second one was not much of a success. It was a bit early, I would say, in terms of timing. The problem still exists as of today. Advertising and marketing is a multi-billion industry, and it's our data which is a fuel to this industry. So I really hope that someone someday do something about it, and the technology has come so much forward. The second startup became a TED Talk, and fast forward, I worked in different setups with bigger organizations and globally in the Nordic. And I found one very interesting problem statement, which was how we can get value out of all this. It was very inspiring to see that there are so much investment from bigger organizations across sectors, across industries. And no matter what, how big data science team they have, how advanced platforms they have, there are so few actually getting value out of all these investments. Me coming from a technical background, this was super interesting problem. So why so? Why they are not getting return on investment and they're not scaling with this investment? So the result of my work, my expertise, as well as my personal passion in human transformation became a book, which I published in November, The AI Awakening. And the good news is that the book is coming in Norwegian as well. So please check it out. I'm very proud of it. Fast forward, my journey with AIZEN and what we're doing with AIZEN. We are, as I mentioned, we are in the morning as well, we are dealing with a sustainability dilemma. There is so much great movements for sustainability. We have EU regulations in Norway and in Nordic. There is so much attention around that. So that's very positive. On the other side, what we see in practice is that the focus ends with reporting and compliance. And that's where the ambition ends. And it's a bit sad, because it's not enough just to be compliant with EU regulations. You actually need to transform your business. You should be able to know the impact of your actions, your processes, and how this is in connection with other relevant businesses is impacting the environment. So I would say AIZEN is born out of a frustration. And this situation doesn't get better, it even gets worse in 2-3 years, where the small and medium-sized businesses are also required to report and be compliant. And my experience of working with this segment is that they're still not fully digitalized. They maybe even don't have a data lake. Data is an issue, and they don't have a team of data scientists, data engineers. So basically, AIZEN is a bit ahead of time in terms of the, meeting the requirement in the market. The solution we're trying to build meets bigger organizations as well as smaller organizations, but that's our end game. We want to take advantage of all the magic with data and AI and make this cheap and easy for small and medium-sized businesses, not only be compliant, but also being able to measure the impact of their actions. That's our end goal. The way it is as of now, it's super complex. I don't know how many of you have seen those documents, EU regulations called CSRD, ESRS, the EU taxonomy. The first time we started looking into those documents, we basically said that this is not written for humans. It's impossible to understand those documents, but how you want to be even compliant with those documents. So that's the first observation. And on top of that, we have the regulations in Norway and everything else. And then data fragmented. When we talk about sustainability, we're talking about all data, literally all data. And this is a very contextual data, and it's not enough about just your data in connection in a bigger ecosystem, your suppliers, your solution providers, service providers, and they have different formats, they have different standards. So there's a lot of complexity also on the data side. Real-time decision-making is super important. Still, we are far from that. Again, as I said, the ambition is just reporting. So and that by itself is quite expensive. As of today, as a big organization, you need 100 hours of consulting work to be able, to collect data, to understand what you need to report on and to do the reporting. Super inefficient and expensive process. So it's not a surprise. It doesn't leave space, for anything else, for innovation when it comes to sustainability. And it's in the best scenarios, what we have observed in the market is that it's one-person problem, chief sustainability officer or sustainability manager. And the rest of organization, basically, they're not engaged, they're not involved. And it's so difficult to make an impact if you're not engaging and involving every single person. So we have definitely a way to go. So the first observation we had is that a company and organization is an ecosystem. So until you don't see this as a whole, anything that you design, any solution you offer is suboptimal. So that's the first thing. As I said, it's about all the data from HR to supply chain to marketing. And here you need to be able to model the business as an ecosystem and in connection with other relevant businesses. So, and then, like every other transformation journey, it starts by a realization of where you are. So yes, reporting and compliance, super boring, but it's the actual very concrete step that you can make. And that's what we believe, that EU is actually fueling the need for innovation for more sustainable businesses by creating these requirements for reporting and compliance. So that's the starting point. To automate this process, it doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be time consuming. And you can automate it and you can move on, create capacity for more innovative work. Real-time insight is very important so that you can bring this insight from your data back to your business and make more informed decisions. And eventually to be able to create different scenarios and know the impact of those scenarios and decide based on that. So that's the end game. That's how we see it. And like many other startups and like many other software companies, we also starting with the step number 1, which is automated compliance and reporting, and also automating what we call double materiality assessment, which is basically creating the sustainability strategy for your business. AIZEN is a deep tech startup. So that's where we start. We started from technology, but we're very mindful to stay close to business and to test and to learn and co-create at the same time. Our vision, I could see like these 4 areas actually we can benefit from collaboration with academia and with universities and researchers. The first place is intelligent agents. So knowing that sustainability, we kind of include all the data for a business, it's the traditional thinking around software as a service platform or SaaS architecture has great limitations here. And we already, in our conversation with bigger organizations, with energy companies, we already started feeling these limitations. We cannot demand them, you give us all our data so we can give you some insight for reporting and compliance automation. So that's the first thing. And that we challenge ourselves for our architecture that we need to move towards more distributed architecture. So AIZEN is a platform, and AIZEN is going to be an ecosystem of intelligent agents which are specialized for particular tasks. That task could be, for example, reporting. That task could be compliance or scenario modeling. The second area is federated learning and data privacy. Again, we're talking about very sensitive, GDPR-sensitive data that we want to move the computing power towards this data. We want to be able to collect this data from distributed resources and create insight for our clients. So that's also an area that I would say we would benefit from research and collaboration with academia. Only 2 minutes. Oh my God. so I go very fast. And then this is the heart of AIZEN, the knowledge hub. Here we know the limitations with AI and generative AI. That is the reasoning. So here we need our intelligent agents to be able to think and act as a lawyer. No more hallucination, no more guesswork. And that's where we started. To build this knowledge hub, our knowledge graph is already trained with all EU regulations. What it comes is the best practices, external data sources, and this is something we are willing to share with researchers to do collaboration and to joint research together. There are a couple of examples and use cases here that we can think of in terms of collaboration. Automated compliance checking. Our first intelligent agent, AIZEN, will be launched in Q1 in beta version, which is already doing that, and this is an area we would like to collaborate. The second area is generating reporting. In addition to basically, it's a collaboration between Knowledge Hub, Knowledge Graph, and the AI and machine learning part. Creating sustainability insights. Data management, visualization, super important. If we're going to create engagement, we need to think out of the box in terms of user experience and in terms of visualization. Workflow management and scenario modeling that I mentioned. So I really hope that I managed to a little bit explain who we are and what we are going to achieve with AIZEN. please reach out if this resonates with you, if this is something that you are working with or you're interested to collaborate with. What we can offer is data, access to data, and as well as experimentation platform, and access to the components that we have already built or we're building.
Are there any questions?
Yes. Just a bit on the hallucination part, which you wanted to solve, because I guess you're not the only one in the world trying to solve that problem. OpenAI, Llama, all of them. It's a very complicated problem to solve. What techniques are you using to solve it that the other companies are like not thinking of using, or are you having a database with all the facts and just retrieving the facts, or how are you working?
That's a very good point. We're not solving hallucination problem for large language models. As you said, this is basically another area. But for our own solution, as I mentioned, that we have created this knowledge graph. And that's a big difference. So if you compare, for example, AIZEN, our agent for sustainability and compliance, with ChatGPT, ChatGPT is basically trained equally on Shakespeare as well as EU documents and regulations. Let us set aside, all the security and privacy problems. But then AIZEN is a large language model backed with a brain, which is that knowledge graph. So, we are creating context for reasoning. And by that, we are already solving to some degrees that reasoning challenge that we have with large language models. But we also need to look into even more advanced solutions like a hybrid of AI and machine learning to solve that problem. And this is the part we already parked it, and we think that we can collaborate with academia on that, like abductive reasoning, deductive reasoning, causal reasoning, that we can get help from AI to do that.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so this will be our sixth presentation of the day, unfortunately already our last. It will be given by Francis. He is a very experienced advisor and has a lot of knowledge about the design across the life cycle of projects and also products, and also interventions in different societal systems. And he was also involved in the development of some of Norway's digital infrastructures, such as HelseNet. And he has a strong interest in bridging academia and industry. And he is currently working as a senior advisor at Brønnøysund Register, and he will tell us more about that and also how PhD students could help in solving some of the challenges, potentially, that Brønnøysund Register has. So the floor is yours. And we will do a little recap after this presentation, and then we will have the networking and some Christmas dinner.
Thank you. Do I need to use two mics? Thank you. Because I use my hands a lot. So thank you for the invitation, and I've gotten to work with NORA a lot the last 4 or 5 months after summer. And one of the reasons we signed a strategic partnership with NORA was to get closer to this kind of information. And so my presentation is about why we're doing that. So first, Brønnøysund Register is we are about 450 people, mainly in Brønnøysund. I have 2 of my colleagues here sitting on the first bench. We've been around since 1980. Some in Oslo and some in Norway. But our mandate is about, I think there was, compliance was mentioned. So we work with compliance. We make sure that businesses comply, but our main objective is to create a level playing field. Everyone's working to the same rules and regulations. So that is the core of what Brønnøysund does. And we are governed by the Ministry of Trade. And by the way, this ministry also owns a lot of the Norwegian businesses, like Ingvar's business, DNB. They own 39% of DNB and Telenor and Equinor. So this ministry is quite resourceful and powerful. we are governed by them primarily to drive compliance in simplifying regulatory reporting challenges that Norwegian businesses have. Our most recent register was in 2021, which was about real beneficial owners to track who owns which companies and where are their ownership structures in place. So I'm going to just very briefly explain how we use the concept. There was a question about trust and how do you do trust. And so we have a very narrow perspective on trust, and our approach to trust is that we use data as evidence. And we've been building national registers to make sure that a company that or an entity that exists, for example, the legal entities, that if you're a football club or you're a restaurant owner or you're Equinor, you have an accountability and you have an organizational number which tracks your, that opens the key to a lot of a business activity in Norway. So these company registries is what we've been building. So we've got loads of data, a lot of data collected over time. As those data reflect the different changes in policy and compliance and laws and regulations. So we've been working with, so data is our business, to put it in that. So how do we go about this? We are not very large, so we see that we need to collaborate. So we work quite extensively with the private sector, primarily the organizations, the associations, like the accounting professionals, the auditing professionals, the financial sector association. So we can simplify this process because data has material value. So we combine our role as a national agency because we are part of the national statsforvaltning, as they call it. But we also collaborate with our at the EU level and particularly in the Nordics. So we use that to convene different actors. And it's project driven. So since we are an operational entity, our work on innovation and business opportunities driven by regulatory change, business opportunity that we use, that we explore. And so we combine our role as an agency that's in operations, but our transnational collaborations to actually learn more and establish some kind of common ground. So we participate in a lot of public sector, public-private partnerships, and also EU projects. The DSOP, if anyone's heard of DSOP, it's one of the digital public sector collaborations with primarily in the financial sector. So public-private partnership and collaboration is critical for us. And so we're looking for, so participating in NORA is a move in that direction. We believe that the data we have, and we have a lot of evidence as to how that data actually drives innovation. So I think the previous speaker talked about reporting. Reporting is necessary, but what you do with that reporting and how you actually use what's called secondary use of data, that needs work to be done on that. Because reporting for us is reporting as per law, but that is one purpose that is given. We are not at the liberty to give that data all around for different purposes unless there is sufficient reason. And that reason must come from the community, the business community. So we see what is possible, but that is not in our mandate to make that available. But we have done that through that collaboration that I mentioned earlier. So we've done projects that have saved Norwegian businesses for billions per year. But that's just part of it that comes through that collaboration. So I'm looking for tips and ideas as to how we can do more of that. Because data, the materiality of data, that data is building material that we've seen for the last, at least for the last 30 years from all the projects that we've done on reporting. And right now we're experimenting. So we are part of a team, and my colleague sitting right at the end, I'm putting her on a spot, but she is our AI lawyer. She's a lawyer, but looking at what does ethical and responsible AI really means in practice. How do you do it? So we are in that experimental phase of our AI journey. So I'm part of the team that's working there because we're looking at new ways as to how we can use this data to fuel innovation. We're also going to also have the role of doing compliance reporting for CSRD and medium-sized enterprises. And reporting is easy once you have the specification, someone does that. And we can receive it because we've been receiving accounting data for the last 30 years. So we know how to capture data and store it and make it available to businesses for various purposes. Now, how do you do the semantic connection between financial and ESG data? That's again an opportunity for collaboration. So we are experimenting. So my ask to NORA's researchers, and the reason we are part of NORA is because I think Cecina's earlier presentation talked about open innovation, and she had a cone showing academia and then startups and public sector and private sector. And I like to look at it in a different way, similar but different, in the sense that we are not researchers, but we do just enough research so that we can get decisions made, so that bureaucrats can decide and pass law in Parliament. So we use data evidence, we use new ways of using data, we use that decentralizing data. We've experimented with blockchain, we experimented with decentralized, we're currently experimenting with digital identity wallets. We need to know what researchers are doing because we believe researchers have the opportunity to create new knowledge, and that new knowledge must be diffused so that people who are making those decisions really making decisions based on not just data, but also the knowledge that goes with that data. So demystifying AI by creating meaningful products that are accountable. The products in the AI space will need to be accountable, just can't hide behind a legal entity. We need to explore more. I would really encourage the researchers to explore more what does data mean as building material. It is building material. Digital twins have been spoken for the last 30 years in various forms, but we're capturing IoT and we're capturing how do you use data as building material? And I can explain what I mean by that if you are interested. Because we have been seeing data being used as material to simplify tax reporting, to simplify creating a new business, because we get evidence and we get credentials moved around. And lastly, I'd like you guys to also explore what does society's digital infrastructure look like? What is the nature of that digital? We have the railways, we have the waterways, and we have the roadways. But what does non-physical infrastructure look like in a societal context? And I think AI can help there. So I invite you to explore these because we have a lot on our hands and we are few, deliberately so, but we need to work with others. So any questions? I was between you guys and the glug, round 2. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Francis. So we will have a little recap now by Michael, my colleague from NORA. Then after that, we will have the Christmas dinner.
Okay, let's try to recap this. Bear with me, I've written some short notes. I won't keep it long. As Francis said, being the point between you and the glug is not always the nicest. But first of all, thanks to all the speakers who came and provided great speaks or talks. And also thanks to everyone here that have taken the time to come today. So let's first do a bit of innovation, the pathway to innovation, as Nina and the Growth House talking about the mechanisms that are available to you guys if you want to take your idea from the university and maybe out to industry. Then we heard from Yngvar, and my key takeaways from Yngvar is basically We have this 0 to 250. This is incremental innovation. We just do things faster, the same things we do now, we just do them faster. And then we have this moonshot AI, where we do things that we didn't think was possible before. This is the speedometer of 250 and above. So that's my take home from Yngvar. And the key to this is trust. How do we maintain trust while we're making these huge leaps in innovation? And then we have this online talk from the Research Council about the PhD schemes that is available. So I won't go into too much detail of that. And then AIZEN, you talked, so Mujgan talked about her journey from academia to the light side. Let's call it that, the light side. And the bright side, maybe, where we actually create value for the society. And how you guys are working to create an ecosystem that can help small and medium business enterprises to actually do compliance and reporting in a more efficient way. And lastly, we heard from Francis, and I just noted down 3 things that I thought was very cool. Simplify compliance, and then trust is built on data, and data fuels innovation. And then last, data-driven decision-making. So they work to get data so the politicians can actually make good and proper policies out of that and not just pull something out of their hat. Okay, so I hope that was an okay recap of the day. Again, glad to see you all here, and now gløgg is served and hopefully some dinner soon as well. So, Merry Christmas!